Tolerance is Extinction Part 2. Holy crap, they just put out their Empire Strikes Back. Knock, are you ready to talk about this?
I'm ready to talk about this, but are we live or is my thing messing up?
Oh, we're live right now.
Oh man,
So
I must be a little behind, but I'm ready to talk about this. Zach hyped it up last week, and for everyone that followed us for this week's episode, thank you for hitting up the comments and support, man. I see the comments, really appreciate it, man. I really appreciate you guys because this is exciting. I'm through the roof, bro.
uh I can't wait to get your opinions on everything that happened and your reaction from one generation to there you are, another. Get your comments in. We're gonna discuss it. Here we go.
Previously on X-Men.
Woo.
Whew. Watch this episode twice and I'm still hyped about it. I cannot believe they pulled it off. I'm so happy that this happened. I don't even know where to begin, Knock.
I mean, there's so much to happen. We're gonna get to it all. I have a lot of reactions I'm sure we're all waiting for the reactions towards the end. But the build to this and how we set the tone. This is the first episode, minus Gambit, where we got everyone converging, the storylines converging, and we had everyone reunite. So there's so much going on from the beginning now. And then, like I kind of touched on it last week, Zach. Professor X and his whole legacy is in question, and they doubled down on this episode to begin with, man.
Yep. Let's just get into it right now, and then we'll get to the juicy stuff later on. And of course, Easter eggs. So if you found any Easter eggs, make sure to comment and let us know because I'm sure we missed a couple. But we'll talk about everything that happened in this episode, and especially if this is your first time seeing what happened. I personally would love to know, as someone who bought this comic, who had this reserved, I would love to know, and that's why I'm so excited to hear Knott's opinion on this.
I love that we're like progressing in storylines and getting to like these heavy hitters because like for a while it was like X-Men was so great, but we never got to like the full storylines. We always got caught up on the Phoenix saga, but never got further. So I'm so glad we're seeing this stuff out. Real quick before we get into the excitement, I want to let everyone know if you're in the chat right now, let us know how the audio's sounding, how the video and the visuals are. We're all good because this is going to be a hell of an episode, and I just want to make sure everything's crisp and pristine for you guys.
All right, let's get into it right here. Everyone is kind of converging, like you said, back at X Manor. It starts out with we have Magneto looking at his helmet, with no sound, just the ocean. Yeah. Because why? He destroyed all electronics. There is no sound. Everyone's kind of screwed. No checking your phones, nothing. Scott and Jean are talking to Xavier, trying to figure out why he did what he did. Do you like his reasoning for it?
It made sense because Cyclops is so pissed off right now. He's not really seeing clearly. We've seen in these last 2 episodes his leadership, his character get tested, his patience get tested. But Cyclops not agreeing with him doesn't make sense because in the first episode, he was like, why did he leave it to Magneto? It's because he wants us to be free. So he already knows how Xavier is thinking. So that just tells you right now he's not really thinking clear-headed.
Yeah. There's a lot going on with him. The other stuff that we saw, just very quick in the beginning, right before the 2 sides and the very end of the intro starts up, the people running towards the screen are now Bastion bots. So that's kind of a nice touch.
Oh, okay.
But we did have Storm and Forge help out our guy. I keep forgetting his name. And Jubilee.
Oh, Sunspot.
Sunspot. There we go. Roberto. So that was kind of a cool, nice intro back in there. And you see a nice shot with Storm and Forge.
You do. The shot with the rain and she's coming down in her new black suit to save them. Yes. Amazing stuff. Great reintroduction. Still waiting for my boy Bishop to show up. I don't know where this man is at. He's missing.
He is. Mr. Allpower. Yeah, this whole episode, just great. Nightcrawler hanging out with his sibling, Rogue. Kind of cool right there. And then we get everyone coming back to the mansion too. Storm coming back to a mess of what she left, but then a great scene with her and Jean connecting as sisters because she went through the whole Phoenix saga. Storm kind of went through her own Phoenix saga, getting her powers back. So great bond between the two.
Yeah. And for those who Zach had rewatched. You said season 5 before it started. I hadn't
Yeah.
rewatched anything this past weekend because how great season or episode 8 was. I started rewatching. I'm on season 4 right now. To begin of season 4, so I've seen all the Phoenix Saga, Dark Phoenix Saga, all type of stuff. I'm glad that we're seeing these bonds. The Storm and Jean is a very good bond that I don't think it touched on too much in the original. That it really
No.
got to double down on this one. I'm loving that sisterhood that they have, and of course, seeing Rogue and Nightcrawler as well. They have very unique experiences that they only those two share. And Rogue's in
Yeah.
a very tough spot right now. Obviously losing Gambit and who she thought was Magneto. And did you see the part? I think it was Nightcrawler that told her. He was like, the people that survived. And she's like, was it Gambit? Was it Gambit? It's like,
Yeah.
and she's like, it's so disappointed when she finds out it's not. My fault, Magneto.
Yeah. Great stuff. Dialogue. A lot of stuff that Halle Berry's Storm didn't get in the X-Men movie. We're going to talk about that movie towards the end of the Easter eggs, but great dialogue in there. It builds character. It makes us care about these people. And it also shows us how lazy you can be if you have mutant powers. Nightcrawler just going across the room and poofs. Jean using the Storm.
Why use his feet, man?
Right. Why bother? Great stuff. Character building. And of course, going through however he talks to humans, not in person. Maybe it's his version of a Zoom call, but he talks to President Kelly, who used to be Senator Kelly, who wanted to put mutants in encampments and send them off somewhere. But now he's all for it, questioning this. And also what happens during this, I don't have a slide for, but everyone's converging. Beast and Forge, they touch on his leg and they start working on something that can stop our guy Bastion. So a lot of stuff happening, a lot of building to what could be a final fight.
Yeah, so that little head device that they were trying to conjure up, I had just watched this episode too because it happened in the Phoenix Saga where they try to get it on Jean Grey to suppress her powers, to try to kill the Phoenix, while Lilandra and them were all getting involved. So I just watched it happen. Now to see it back on here for a different purpose is kind of crazy. And the Professor X, example, people being lazy, he got his actual wheelchair, not his special souped up one, and he's trying to make his way through the X mansion. It's all in shambles, and he looks at it, and there's no walkway or no pathway he can go, and just sighs. I'm like, damn, bro, this man is down bad. He's getting put through the ringer this season.
He is. We later get Magneto bringing up his island fortress, Asteroid M.
Yes.
At the X-Men's home base, where there's a nice dialogue between Professor X and Rogue, setting up why Rogue is turning, because maybe Gambit should have been here, but you see him as this, and you don't see us as people, you see us as students, and the buildup comes. Sunspot, Rogue join Magneto in a scene where Magneto pretty much says the door is open. We'll get to the homework that we got last week. It kind of goes into that too with what that comic book was. Again, some other stuff here that I didn't want spoiled. But what do you make of this? Rogue had Gambit's jacket on at the end here. Rogue in the dialogue has she mentions that all the death. She mentions Jean Grey dying multiple times with the Phoenix and everything else. And then she mentions Morph, which is a good one. If you catch it, she says around half an hour into everything. Morph in the pilot episode, I do believe, died at the 29 or 28-minute mark.
Yeah.
So that was a nice touch too. So yeah, what do you think of all this?
I was gonna say the same thing. Like she literally says, she throws it in Professor X's face. Morph was on a team for 30 minutes before he left them for dead. And all this stuff, it made sense why Rogue turned. And we're seeing these parallels. Rogue and Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler stays, Rogue goes. Sunspot, Jubilee. Jubilee stays, Sunspot goes. Right now, we're seeing two people, the people that left Sunspot and Rogue, that are very vulnerable. They don't feel like they have anyone else. Sunspot, in the case of his mother, threw him to the wolves. So what does he have anything else to live for? Jubilee thinks, well, why not me? Rogue, who just lost Gambit, who she has an interesting relationship with her feelings. She didn't know how much he loved him until he's gone like that, and now she's broken. So they're both, these characters have similar reasons why they're joining, and Sunspot wasn't there enough to be with Professor. He didn't even know Professor X to really have that bond like Jubilee.
Right.
And Rogue knows him so well that she's seen all the stuff that she threw in his face, like you just said. So it's really interesting to see this brotherhood form. I'm calling them the brotherhood. I don't know if that's what they're going to call themselves actually, but
right.
I don't know where this goes because they're all still family, they're all still friends. But then when we get to the end, it's we gotta start throwing some punches, and it's getting kind of brutal. So it's just seeing that split. I don't want to get too long-winded here, but seeing that split and
No,
like
it's
all
fine.
this like stuff going on is like, this is really good. This is good shit, man.
This is some good shit. It's making characters important no matter what side they're on.
Yeah.
Rogue wearing her original costume that she they also showed the original where she took Captain Marvel's powers. But
Yeah.
speaking of original costumes,
Here we go.
throwback time, baby. I liked it. Storms was kind of like, I was just wearing this. Why is this? Let's see. They could have put it on someone else, but her and Nightcrawler kind of already wearing their original outfits.
Yeah. Jean and Cyclops' original was, they definitely have that outdated feel for me. But that Wolverine one, that Wolverine costume, bro, we can go ahead and keep that one. That one is the shit.
That one's good. Maybe the X-Men one for the movies will be like that, but this was more so along the lines of the X-Men arcade game in the 90s. Substitute Jean Grey with Dazzler, who died in the series. But I thought it was cool, and it's also a throwback if you watch the original pilot. You can find it on YouTube. There's an original pilot where, yes, so you can check that out. Very cool stuff. So that might be the big throwback for there. And of course, everyone representing what they wore in the comics right here. Morph kind of in his kind of rendition of how he got introduced in Age of Ultron, or no, Age of Apocalypse.
Oh yeah. You're right.
But cool stuff. Did this get you hyped? Did this get you ready for the fight?
This did. I mean, you have the gear up. Every single show when they do it properly, the gear up, the getting ready action scene. I love it, man. Again, I don't know who my boy Bishop is, but Cable donning some X-Men gear.
Yep.
This is so good. And to this point, yeah, we have the split in the team, the fracture, and everything's so dynamic and fluid. We don't really know where everyone's allegiances lie. We don't really know what they're fighting for at this point. What I'm trying to say is, like, it was just so much going on. I didn't even know where this was going. Like, it's insane.
And here's the other part too that was mentioned that I forgot to mention. There's about 12 hours left until the Earth's dead.
Yes.
Because
so we're on the time clock. Right. We're on the time clock.
So much going on. I liked so much of this stuff, just random stuff that characters were doing, what they were saying, and then they split off into the blue and the gold, a very 90s reference that, again, we'll touch on in the Easter eggs. If you got anything to say on that, what do you think about that? And was this your first time seeing them split into a type of team like that?
I don't think I know too much of the reference of the blue and gold, but I think I've seen them split before, and I like the way they did this because, again, Mr. Sinister popped out of nowhere. I forgot about Mr. Sinister to this point. So now see him really target Jean Grey and hone in. Again, that's more character stuff that was really well done.
It was just basically even throwing out the idea, hey, I can tell you where you and Madeline end and begin, and her saying, nah.
I really wanted to know. I was like, all right, can we get that information? Can we get it out of him? Can she use her telepathic powers just to, get it out of him, force her way into his mind?
Exactly. Cool stuff. He thinks she has the perfect genetics, and Scott too, kind of, but her mainly. So that it's just a cool thing. I just love the obsession in there. But I gotta say, I marked out so hard. Like I man, I don't even know what I did. I marked out. I just remember was gripping the side of the couch and everything, and they showed Sinister fight. I've never seen Sinister fight like this. This was so cool. The sashaying, everything. They're using his morphing abilities to hold up a car and dodge and do all this stuff. This is the coolest thing. This is one of my favorite things of the series because we've never ever seen Sinister fight like this.
Like I've been saying all season, the animation feels inspired, man. It's so well done. Like this is next level stuff right now. I think he threw like a projectile. I don't know if it was like a car or whatever. He threw something at her, and then he went to his liquid form, to a shadow, got in front of her while she was trying to deflect it, then popped up to attack her. It was just such good, cool stuff. Like, I can see that being he's hard to defeat. Like, he looks like a real threat.
Yep. He fights a little bit like this if you play Marvel vs. Capcom, so it's kind of maybe in the cards from there. But seeing this done on screen, the animation was so fluid, like you said, and then morph smash, he turns into the Hulk, and we have more cool stuff, especially with Jean Grey helping him out.
Morph hasn't got that much time throughout the season to really develop his character even more, but every single time he's been on and he's done his morphs, if you will, he's been on fire. And this was his best one. I was so locked in with this stuff, man.
This is so good. I don't have a slide for the rest of what the team did, but you had Morph going in pretending to be Sinister, and Bastion was like, Sinister doesn't give a crap about anybody else. I know it's you, Morph, and of course
Yeah.
B's trying to help out, and Bastion turning everything into like human form hands and everything like that. And beforehand, we saw Bastion go by his mother and say everything's okay now. We saw Bastion's place there built like his own town. There's more human in Bastion than there might be robot, because a robot would just want things efficient, almost like if you're playing The Sims or Sim City, things to run smoothly like robots would. So there's a lot of human left in him.
Yeah. And I think I did feel a shift in this episode. Like I thought Bastion was that big, like next level threat. This one he kind of took a bit of a back seat, and I was we get to the end. And now there's another threat I'm looking at. We're on that 12-hour clock. We're fighting. We're trying to do whatever we can. You mentioned him picking up on Morph being Mr. Sinister. That was really well done as well. And that brings to the next thing that happened, a big piece of action. We almost see Jean Grey get blasted away. My boy Cable brought out his powers. I didn't know he was packing like that. No, did he? But this guy brought out. He tried to blast her away. I know Sinister was in control, but damn.
Yes. So he holds that stuff back. I know a lot of people know more about this. He holds it back because the virus that's inside will eat at him when he uses this ability. So it's like if you have the flu and you go to the gym, the flu's going to start taking over because you're using your body and stuff like that. So that's why Cable doesn't really use it. So he uses it, and it's big time. It is huge. And seeing Jean call for Scott, we don't know what happens after this. Seeing, and like Scott can see what's going on. It's throwing him off in the final battle too. But this was so effing cool how it was done, and it's almost like a cliffhanger within the middle of the episode.
It was so well done, man. And like again, the animation is so good, man. This is crisp stuff. I don't know who the studio is that is doing X-Men, but this is next level stuff, man. I can't keep praising it enough. And since I've been rewatching the original, every single time Jean's been in trouble, whether it's with the Phoenix Saga, Scott has always been her anchor to keep her back, like bring her back to being that person. To see her like rewatch that and then come back to here and see her call him again, my bad Wolverine. It was cool to see. And like he was about to witness his son take out his love.
I mean, he's got his little black book, but it's fine. Scott Summers, like, just I can't stand Scott Summers. But anyways, this is it. This is the other big battle here that's going on. We're going to Muir Island. They play the nice bagpipes on Muir Island like they did in the original series. Magneto's fortress, his throne, all made out of sentinels. Xavier even says the past has built you, and that's what you're living in right now. It has defined you. Oh man, this is God. I can't. I'm just like geeking.
Yo, that's his Iron Throne, basically. I love it, man. Magneto is one of my favorite characters of all time, and like the way he's been presented in this show is amazing. The people that have gotten the short end of the stick is Professor X. He's looking like, like he was completely wrong. Like he's delusional. He's not looking good at all in this series. I'm sorry to think Bo doesn't like him.
There's a lot going on with Professor X. I don't know. Maybe he gets some redemption later next week, but I don't know. You might be right on that. This is the battle. A lot of this stuff happens too. Again, I don't want to talk too much about the comic that he tells you to read for this week, but this was a taste of it.
Yeah.
I thought more was coming, but it didn't. But that's fine because we get to more. We get to so much more. What do you think of this battle right now between Charles and Magneto?
I love the battle. They're both still, even though Magneto's like as pissed off as he can be, he's done. He had some great lines, but he still has that's his friend. So they're still like not trying to kill each other, not crossing that line, that boundary.
Yes.
When there's a few steps that they unlayer to take away Magneto's like, okay, I'm going full force. That was when they took off his helmet. So now Professor X betrayed him by going into his mind, which I know, I don't know if he said in this show, but I know like that's kind of the rule, like he wouldn't do. So he does that. Magneto's furious. He's trying to use his powers to stop this all, because they're on the clock. Correct me if I'm wrong. When Jean Grey called Cyclops and he's seen what had happened, is that when he blasted Professor X? like that was the timing of it. That's why he did it. Because like, oh, they need more time. Oh shoot, my girl's about to die. I'm losing my mind because this is it. This is it. This is like Chris Pratt, my boy, Star-Lord, taking the gauntlet off Thanos, but he smacked him instead. And he got it back. We're about to have Magneto pinpointed, all good, signed, sealed, delivered, and we shoot Professor X.
I mean, fucking Cyclops, man.
Yeah, but people still defended him. Like,
yep. Yeah, I see those comments in our X-Men tier list. Anyways, we get to this. Holy shit. Okay. This last week is what I thought was going to happen as part of the Fatal Attraction storyline that Bo DeMeo said, do your homework. Don't. You're looking up the answers if you do the Bo homework. This was so fucking cool. He tells Magneto, he says like it's like the not the heroes that die first, it's the
brave die first. So he shows that respect for him, slashes through him. I thought Magneto was done because they shoot to Rogue. Rogue looks broken. I thought he was finished. I mean, why is he not dead? The adamantium straight through. This is a clean shot.
You can see it on the side a little bit. That's a movie cheat that people like to do. It doesn't hit any major organs, blah, blah, blah. But just a little Easter egg here. What he says to Magneto says to the X-Men as they fly off in the Blackbird in the season finale of season 1. I think one word has changed, but it's almost verbatim. He's got his ribs all taped up, and it's like the end thing of that season. So it's kind of a cool callback, and like you said, it shows respect to him. But yeah, man, this is it. Like, this is what I grew up on. This is like one of my favorite things in comics in the 90s.
This is absolutely amazing. I think this is the best. I said this about the episode 5, the Gambit whole thing, best ending ever. This one right here takes the cake. Magneto says, and they keep referencing episode 5. He tells Professor X, like, referring to Leech, I told some, little kid he'll never have to fear in the future under my rule, under my, what I chose to do.
Yeah.
But because I tried to follow you, Professor X, I had to watch that kid I told he would never have to fear get his head vaporized in front of me.
Yeah.
So after all this and what he's been saying, I'm on Magneto's side. I can't not agree. I know he's about to destroy the planet, about to blow everyone up, but I'm with him. Go ahead, bro. Push the button.
I gotta say I kind of am too. I like the anime-inspired stabbing of Magneto, how they did it. I thought that was very cool animation to add to it.
Oh man, this is amazing. And then what does he say to Logan? Oh, he says, finally, Wolverine, we could end this rivalry. And okay. So I'm gonna tell you this, Zach, because you told me what you said last week, and I told you there's no way Magneto could be a villain again. There's no way. He's the babyface, ultimate babyface right now. I told you all these things. I know it gets a bad rep because it's all about the X-Men, not just Wolverine. Wolverine's my favorite character. One of my favorite characters of all time.
Yeah.
When he got to Magneto, I didn't know the comic you're referring to, but I knew Magneto could control him from the comic. I knew he did something to him that he can like do this.
Yeah.
I knew that happened. I didn't know this was this comic. So when he gets Magneto, I'm thinking, oh, he surprised him. He snuck through. It's it. And then he turns and says, finally, Wolverine, you took it off. And now I can go all out. We can end this rivalry. And he just shatters my favorite character in front of me. And I lost my mind. I lost my mind, Zach. I couldn't believe what I witnessed. It was so gruesome. I didn't want to see it. I didn't know Disney Plus allowed this. I turned the TV off. I was done. It was still great. But I was done, bro. I couldn't believe it.
I'm so happy you enjoyed this. I'm so happy you were shocked by this. Yeah. This was so damn good. I cannot believe they pulled this off. I'm beyond happy. Again, like you said, I'm so sick of the Phoenix Saga. I don't ever want to touch on that ever again in my life. And some of these other X-Men things that we always talk about. This, I never thought someone would pull this off in a Disney section too, like of Marvel and the comics. This was so cool. If there's anything else, your first
heart to keep looking at. That's why I changed the camera setup.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Just me and you, man.
All right. What else did you like about it? What did you think? What went through your mind when this happened? Because just reading this, I just want to say, reading this was more shocking than the death of Superman and Bane breaking Batman's back. Those are two very big
Really?
things that happened in the 90s,
Yes.
but they were telegraphed by both companies to sell comic books. This was obviously too, everything's a cash grab and everything, that's business. But the point is, when you have people on not just like local news, but like you have like Dan Rather talking about the death of Superman, that's a big deal. This big move of Wolverine getting the adamantium sucked out of him in the comics, that was for comic fans. They could have killed him off, but they didn't. They did this cool thing using two of their very most popular comic book characters in X-Men and creating one hell of a storyline that we now see in X-Men 97.
Again, how they set it up for me, I thought Magneto was gone. I was like, dang, he got him. And then all of a sudden, he hit that Uno reverse card. They showed Rogue's face. I was like, oh, this is it. And then the way he just smashed him, like he's not holding back anymore. He's serious about this. I don't know how we go to the finale now. Like, my boy Wolverine is gone. And I think, Zach, you hinted at this before when you said, if I thought what happened with Gambit was bad, wait till this happens. Oh, you think Magneto can't be a villain? Wait till this happens. And there he goes. He sucks the adamantium out of my favorite character, and he destroys me, man.
Oh, I love it. Ethan Davis, welcome to the channel. He says, wow, 9 out of 10. We'll give our ratings just a bit here. And best episode still episode 5. I can still dig it. Phantom X chiming in as well. Heartbroken. This is insane. Wolverine. He got Drake. Damn. Okay. Magneto's Kendrick. I don't know what that beef is yet. So you can.
I still gotta. I'm gonna break that down on the podcast. We'll do the podcast tomorrow. We're gonna have a lot to talk about.
All right, but this is awesome. This is so damn cool. I'm going to show you guys the covers and the Easter eggs, and it's not spoiler anymore. It's the reason why I took it off the slides last week was because, fuck, so huge. So, any last words before we get into the Easter eggs that you want to talk about this episode? Dislikes, that was cool.
Everything was well done. Everyone got their shine. Real quick, so Bastion, he has that power to control technology. Even though Magneto took all that away, he stopped the Earth. He can still do that. That's how he was controlling those Sentinels. We just got to see his power like really full there. Mr. Sinister did a great job. Rogue turning heel, joining the bad guys, really well done. Makes sense. I don't know how. This is my question to everyone out there. I don't know how we recover Professor X right now. Even his most hardcore students, Jean and Cyclops, who've been here since day one, they're questioning his decisions. Rogue, who's been that loner, that the outsider who was finally brought in by him, who he did help, done with him. We don't know where Storm is. She's kind of loyal. Beast as well. I don't know what Wolverine's state is. His man is finished. But he gave Magneto his credit before Magneto, ripped him to shreds.
Yeah.
So my question to everyone out there, long story short, how do we redeem Professor X? Is he redeemable?
It's a good question. This is going to be different than the comics to an extent. So let us know your theories on there, especially if you have read the comics. So that is it. And like you said, Bastion has a hive mind mentality with these Sentinels and all these things. So it's kind of like Vecna and Stranger Things if you watch that. But Vecna just went down a notch on the big bad list here in one episode.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. Let's get into some fun here. Let's talk Easter eggs. If you found any, let us know. And if you have anything to add on to the ones that we found, please let us know. It's been a while since we've read some comics. So, all right. Knock, you touched on this one earlier. It is the headband from the Dark Phoenix saga. That's where that technology comes from. Nice catch. This right here, when they went to Muir Island and they found all these vehicles, all these new jets and everything in there. If you look right below that X-Men cycle, that's the X-Men cycle. It's a nod to the crappy, weird 90s toys that were created to sell. I had a friend who had this. That's why I noticed it. Just weird. It's like, why would Wolverine make this? But anyways, it's a 90s thing for action figures. That was in there. So.
I remember those times.
Oh, the Batman ones were ridiculous. Anyways, DeMayo's Diner, obviously nod to Bo DeMayo, who this got destroyed in here by the Hulk and the Sentinels in that scene. And then this one where Jean was holding up the car before she fried it. Chris Claremont reference in the bottom. That is an address with Claremont Avenue. Chris Claremont, just so many stories. So just check out his catalog. Nice little shout out in there. This was the homework from last week. If you do read this, Colossus was the one who left with Magneto instead of Rogue. I think it's his sister or stepsister, I can't remember who died of the virus, and that made him believe in what Magneto had to fight for, rather than Gambit and Rogue in this one. So, Fatal Attraction storyline. If you want to catch on and read more, you can. I still say don't do this homework because there's one or two things in here that they could pull off next episode that goes into a whole lot more shit.
You guys heard it here first, man. Zach said don't read. Zach's advocating don't read. Don't read.
Don't read, kids. But speaking of, don't be like Scott Summers in the X-Men movie with this crappy one line that I hated. What did you expect? Yellow spandex? Fuck you, Bryan Singer, who wouldn't allow comic books on set because he wanted to differentiate his action movie, which is basically a SWAT team of heroes, from comic book X-Men. Hated it. I'm not a big fan of this movie. I got into it with my friends after we watched it. But anyways, nice reference with Cable. Okay. But nice reference with Cable. I liked it. It's kind of a fuck you to Bryan Singer. So what'd you expect? Black leather.
That's nice. I didn't catch that it was the same line. Just hit the reverse on him.
Yeah. Ethan Davis, thank you. Colossus' sister. That's who passed. All right. Cable, donning the X-Men gear. This is one from Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and also in the Cable series. I forgot the Cable series. Anyone else knows, but the number one, I think it was a Cable series, not the one that's part of Fatal Attractions. But he donned this in a lot of stuff too. Maybe it was Age of Apocalypse. So nice throwback for the costume in there. And of course, the line with his dad there referencing that we just touched on. This is X-Men Gold Team, Blue Team. I'm just going to blow this up really quick so you can kind of check it out. But this is the 90s teams where they split. One was in Uncanny X-Men, and that was the Blue Team, and the Gold Team was... I'm sorry, that was an X-Men, and then Uncanny X-Men had the Gold Team. So, little splits. It was one of those things, Knock, that I had to ask about at my comic book store that I went to. So I talked to the guys who ran it. And I like talking to guys at comic book stores and women at comic book stores because they're not like people who go and are running record stores who are very snobby and they have their own little band. So if you want to, go check out this Fatal Attraction storyline or some 90s comics that we're referencing here and talk to people in comic book stores. It's very cool to just kind of meet people and talk rather than being online. All right, so yes, this is the Fatal Attraction stuff from last time. They kind of touched on something that might be the ending in this one, but they could go even more further, which I'm very excited about. But this is it. This is how it looks compared to the comic book. So what do you think, Knock? The comic on the left, X-Men 97 on the right. I think they did a good job mirroring it.
Okay, so from what I know, or at least what I've seen before, because I knew this happened in the comics. I didn't know it was this one. So now that I know it's this one, it makes sense why this is your favorite one. I completely get it. Like, this is insane. I can see this being like one of the most shocking moments ever. Like, this doesn't even make sense. Like, Wolverine. I think he's gone. I think if this is done right, I think he's gone. Obviously, we can bring it back somehow, maybe. But for the purposes of this story, I think we watch Wolverine get, put down. There's no way to kill him because he has the adamantium. He has regenerating healing. He has adamantium. Yeah. But you suck out of him like that and break everything. That is insane. I don't know what to say, man. Like, Magneto is Omega level. That's what he is. And he's like the worst person for Wolverine to go up against. And I've known this for so long. And even in that moment of truth, in that moment where I thought Wolverine got him, I was like, oh, he got his ultimate rival. Magneto said, nah, gloves off. You're done, buddy.
Were you okay with how it was kind of like stop motion rather than fully animated? Like,
I was fine with it because I was long for the journey. So I don't know who they were trying to target or like what type of motion they were trying to get out of it. I don't know if it worked for everybody. But for me, when I was watching, I truly believed, okay, Cyclops just turned. Professor X is out of the way. Here comes Wolverine out of nowhere. He got him. I thought it was it. I was like, oh, shit. Cut to Rogue. I see the emotion. Magneto is done. I'm like, now I'm starting to feel like how when Thanos got Iron Man in Infinity War, I started feeling those emotions like, oh, this is good. There's stakes. But damn, there goes Tony Stark. I felt the way about Magneto. I was like, damn, there goes Magneto. He's done. He had all this whole journey, and now it's over. And then in that split second, he flipped it. So I had all those emotions. So whatever they did it worked for me.
All right, it worked for me too because this is very tough. Doing fluid animation is tough. You got to look at something with a big budget behind it, like Moana, or like how they control water in like Frozen and Frozen 2. It's a lot to do, but I'm fine with this because it was more stop motion, like it was in the comics, and they stopped it right there. So this is my this isn't a spoiler. Oh, it didn't take the slide. Anyways, on the slide was the comic that this happens to, and then Wolverine number 25. This is the cover of it. This is the cover that you see. It stops. It ends just like the cartoon ended right here. It ends with that happening, and then it continues in another comic book, Wolverine. So it's just like these two episodes. It's ending, and then it's going to pick up right in the next episode. So I thought that was a very cool thing to do, exactly like the comics did.
Okay. Again, it's really cool stuff, man. We have one more episode. I'm glad it's more episode. We have one more episode.
We have one more. This is Bo's homework. Watch Cause and Effect, the episode from Star Trek: The Next Generation. I'm going to tell you something. Don't do your homework. That's all I'll say about that. Don't do your homework. I know this episode. Well, I used to like Star Trek: The Next Generation. I used to watch it on TV when it was live, but don't do it. Just don't do your homework. Knock, what do you got?
All right, so obviously it's a big week, big few months since X-Men dropped out from Marvel, DCU, but we're getting some more Steve Rogers, my boy Chris Evans. We're gonna get a limited series for Disney Plus of Captain America returning the Infinity Stones, so we're gonna see that for a little bit. I'm glad. I want to see more of him. It's kind of a cool way to do it. I don't know how much action could really be going on or what they could really do. I'm sure they can have fun with it. We could see maybe different storylines, different people pop up, but it should be coming soon. So I'm kind of excited for that.
Okay, I mean, if they're gonna put out new stuff, that's fine. But I mean, like, how long are we gonna have Ironheart sit on the shelf? That series is like done.
So. And they did say they're cutting down on like how much TV shows and movies they're putting out a year. So how much more delay does Ironheart get? That's a good point.
Right.
But yeah, hell of an episode. But that's one of the little things right there for not Easter eggs, but just some Marvel news since we're on the topic of X-Men. And then speaking of X-Men, to close it out, it's looking like Ryan Coogler, Creed, Fruitville Station, obviously Black Panther. Yeah. He's doing a vampire movie next year with Michael B. Jordan because they're taking too long with Blade, so he took it into his own hands like Thanos. But he might be taking X-Men over and doing the live action movies. And if he does this, I give him full credit. I have complete confidence in him to deliver a quality production.
Out of all the names that have been mentioned so far, I'll take this one hand over whatever the catchphrase is over the other ones, because the other ones I don't think know how to build a team. Like Black Panther, I thought everyone got enough shine. I wasn't too familiar with a lot of the people in Wakanda, and I just like in X-Men 97, decently familiar with all the characters, so the main character could go about the story. So I'm cool.
I think he would kill this, man. It'd be so amazing. Shout out to the Bay Area, because Ryan Coogler, he's a killer out there for these directors. I got to meet him one time. Obviously, we came to our other job, and he gave his speech like he used to be a fan. He actually came to watch Iron Man. Now he's putting on Black Panther in the same place. So like, it's cool to see like that progression, man. And like he's the perfect person, I think, for this to take it over. Because I highly doubt Bo's coming back.
No, you know what's so cool about this though too? If he does do this, he's 100% going to want to one up this series. So yeah, I do trust that. So
the competition, that's a great point too. I think he will do it, and maybe we might get a little crossover with some other people that we might not see usually. So yeah, it's a lot of cool stuff that could happen here.
Oh, it is. Rating. What do you give this?
It broke my heart to see what happened to Wolverine. But like again, we use all the 30 minutes. Everything that happened, everyone got like so much character development. Professor X is in shambles right now, just like his mansion. Rogue had a great episode. Wolverine, Magneto, Cyclops, and Cable. Even Mr. Sinister got some shine. I can't stand Mr. Sinister. I hate Mr. Sinister.
I love Mr. Sinister.
Magneto had one of the best lines, I think, ever in Marvel at the end when he's talking to Professor X, telling him his case. This is a 10 out of 10 for me. I'm saying all that to say this is 10 out of 10. This is the best episode of X-Men I've ever seen. This is the best season of X-Men I have ever seen in my life.
I'm going to be an asshole. I'm going to say 9.9.
Wow.
Why? Because I wanted more. Because I'm a greedy little bitch. That's why I wanted just a little bit more time spent on a couple things. Like you said last week, we're getting all this great stuff in 30 minutes. I thought maybe we could get 35 minutes and just stretch out a few scenes here and
I
there.
would love that. I would love that.
That's my only nitpick. Again, I'm a nitpicky little prick, but holy crap, I'm so happy with this episode. I've rewatched it so many times already. I cannot believe we got this. I'm just so thrilled. I'm pretty sure I know what's going to happen next and who the big bad is next season. But they may switch it up. We'll talk about it next week. I'm not going to say who it is because why? I either want you to be surprised like Knock was with this. I'm so happy I got to hear a genuine reaction from you rather than like it being spoiled.
Yeah. And I have no idea what's going to happen next week. I'm gonna talk to everyone that's been commenting on these videos, likes. You guys have been saying so much information in these comments, even after we go off the air. Next week is the finale, man.
Yes.
I have thoroughly enjoyed. I doesn't feel like we did. This is 9 weeks. I have thoroughly enjoyed doing this with Zach and everyone jumping in. All the new faces we've been seeing, all the information you guys providing. Like, I love talking comics or talking about stuff like we're all passionate about, and like there's stuff I don't know, stuff that Zach doesn't know, and we're all just sharing that information, man. I love everyone that's been leaving comments, man. I really appreciate it.
I feel the exact same way. And this was line of the season. I can't feel you should. Oh man,
between Rogue saying that and what Magneto said about Leech, seeing him get vaporized.
Oh, God, that was so good too.
You're right about that one. That was another really good one.
I'm just so thrilled. This is one of my favorite things again growing up. This adamantium being sucked out of Wolverine. Again, this trumps the death of Batman and Bane breaking Batman's. Excuse me, the death of Superman. But I already said it. So I one episode left. I'm gonna cry.
Yeah,
I love this series so much.
I do too. We do have a production note for next week though, for the finale. We've been doing these on Thursdays. We will not be doing it on Thursday next week. We'll have to switch those days up.
Right. So probably do it on Wednesday. We're gonna try to do it Wednesday evening around the same time, maybe a little later. So tell your friends, come back. Share information, share your thoughts. We're going to do a full series recap as well, and some things that might be coming our way other than just X-Men 97 from Marvel Animation.
By the time we get to next week, I will have finished rewatching the original series. And I'm probably going to rewatch, I think, this series as well, this whole season, and really catch up. Because I think we might be going for an hour next week. Like, there's a lot that's going to need to be discussed.
Yeah, definitely. Full rundown of I love this series so much. It's so I'm going to mark out. All right. Anything else before we head off and sign off that you want to talk about with this?
Just see us next week, man. We should be here live Wednesday for the finale. I really can't wait, man. It's been a great time. Again, thank you everyone who's been jumping in with the comments. We see it. We love it. We'll respond to everything. And yeah, thanks for joining our community, man. We post a lot of videos here.
Yeah. All right. That's it. Leave comments. If you think of something afterwards, comment. We do comment back. We'll check them for until the end of time. So until then, that's Knock. I'm Zach. Eric, we miss you, buddy. And for everyone out there, see you next week and be excellent to each other.
Previously on X-Men.